A little over 3 weeks ago, a star-studded celebratory event was held at Jerusalem's International Convention Center. It was entitled Conference for Israel's Victory. Settlements bring security, returning to the Gaza Strip and northern Samaria. 12 ministers, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, took part. However, not a single political figure, not even the Minister of Security Itamar Ben-Gvir, was entitled to the frenzied ovations that greeted Rabbi Uzai Sharbaf, now a central figure in the Israeli debate, albeit unknown abroad. His presence rekindled the participants' hope of redeeming what they considered to be the sin of the withdrawal of Jewish settlements from Gaza in 2005. In the hours that followed, Yaakov Margi, Minister of Welfare and Social Affairs, declared that his colleagues should have thought before going to this circus. A banner read, "Only a transfer can bring peace," while a map shows the next Israeli cities to be built in Gaza. The next day, President Joe Biden signed a decree banning some extremist settlers from coming to the United States, and above all, banning all fundraising and money transfers to Rabbi Uzai Sharbaf's men. These sanctions apply not only in the United States, but also in all foreign banks with interests in the United States. What's more, the Biden administration, which until now had discreetly supported the massacre and ongoing genocide in Gaza by supplying shells and other munitions, is suddenly looking for a way out of the crisis. Secretary of State Antony Blinken set off on a new tour of the region's capitals. Why then did Rabbi Uzai Sharbaf's outburst provoke such reactions? To understand why, we need to look back to 1922. Within the Revisionist Zionist movement, there is in fact an even more fanatical group that did not hesitate to attack the British. The Revisionist Zionists are the followers of Vladimir Jabotinsky, a Ukrainian fascist who in 1922 formed an alliance with the Ukrainian integral nationalists of Simen Petlioria and Dmytro Donstov against the Soviets. During this alliance, the nationalists massacred not only Ukrainian anarchists and Ukrainian communists, but also tens of thousands of Ukrainian Jews, and as well as Poles. Refusing to explain his actions, Jabotinsky resigned from his position as director of the World Zionist Organization and founded the Alliance of Revisionist Zionists. He founded a paramilitary fascist formation in Italy with the help of Benito Mussolini. At the end of the Second World War, the Revisionist Zionists pursued their fascist dream, now without the help of their Italian counterparts. They disassociated themselves from the Jewish communal militia in Palestine, the Haganah, and created their own militia, the Irgun. In a letter to the New York Times, Albert Einstein, Hannah Arendt, and other Jewish personalities compared the Irgun to fascist and Nazi formations. The Irgun itself gave rise to Lehi, known as the Stern Group. This group was directly linked to the Polish fascist government. Stern was arrested by the British along with the leaders of his group at the start of World War II, but released when the Polish government reconstituted itself in exile in London. Lehi resumed contact with the Italian fascists and proposed to the Nazis to help them expel European Jews to Palestine. After some hesitation, the Nazis refused. Lehi multiplied attacks on the British and left-wing Jews in the first 2 years of the war. Abraham Stern was shot and killed by a British CID officer in February 1942. Yitzhak Shamir, who assassinated his rivals, then reorganized Lehi. In 1944, Lehi resumed its attacks on the British. It narrowly missed eliminating High Commissioner to Palestine, Harold Macmillan, but succeeded in assassinating the colonial minister, Lord Moyne. The Stern gang assassinated British political and military authorities in the attack on their headquarters at the King David Hotel. David Ben-Gurion, who remained loyal to the British, launched a Haganah campaign to stop the actions of the Irgun and Lehi. Many of their members were arrested. However, in 1945, Ben-Gurion secretly organized a reconciliation with the Revisionist Zionists. This brief alliance did not last, however. Lehi organized the attack on the Secretariat of the British government of Mandate Palestine and its military command, both located in King David Hotel. It left 91 dead and 46 wounded. Lehi did not cease its terrorist activities with the arrest of Yitzhak Shamir. On the contrary, it extended its activities to London until the British withdrew from Palestine. After that, it targeted the Arabs, thus perpetrating the Der Yatsin massacre. The Irgun and Lehi were eventually incorporated into the Israel Defense Forces with the unilateral proclamation of statehood. However, the United Nations sent the Swedish Count Folke Bernadotte to determine the borders of the two Jewish and Arab states. Yitzhak Shamir then organized his assassination. Yeshua Cohen executed him. The revisionist Zionists then changed their label and formed a new party, with Menachen Begin as its chairman. In 1952, Yeshua Cohen founded the Seder Boker Kibbutz. When the following year Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion joined this kibbutz, Yeshua Cohen became his bodyguard. There is no trace of the Stern Group thereafter. However, after the Six-Day War, the Bloc of the Faithful, Gush Emonim, developed the idea that Yahweh had given all Palestine to the Jews. They not only had the right to occupy it, but indeed a duty to do so that the continuation of prophecy be fulfilled. This movement developed around Rabbi Zvi Yehuda Kook. He taught that while the first secular Israelis had begun the work, only the religious knew the direction and could finalize it. It was in this context then that Yehuda et Zion, son of a gang member, recreated the Stern Group. He used the same logo, a fist with two fingers raised, its new name, the Jewish Underground, after the Camp David Accord signed in 1978 by Anwar Sadat and Zionist revisionist Menachen Begin. It formally organized itself. It opposed Israel's retrocession of Sinai to Egypt. It formed two cells. The first, led by Yehuda et Zion himself, was to destroy the Dome of the Rock in the center of Al-Aqsa Mosque in order to rebuild the Temple of Jerusalem. The second was to spread terror amongst anti-colonial Arabs. Rabbi Uzai Sharbaf was the leader of the Jewish underground. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in 1984 for his involvement in a series of murderous activities on Palestinians. He was discreetly released in 1991 by two revisionist Zionists, President Chaim Herzog and Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir.